So what's happening guys, King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Battle League video. Today I'm going to be showcasing another very strong team in the Spring Cup. Today we're going to be showcasing Tentacruel with Sludge Wave. Most people disrespect the nuke from Tentacruel. Most people like to spray and pray with this Pokemon. I think Sludge Wave just gives it very nice coverage against the meta, and just allows Tentacruel to kind of shine where it shines best. It's a pretty attack-weighted Pokemon, giving this thing a nuke is pretty good. Now, anyway guys, in this first battle we're against a Dugong lead. I do typically like to go for the swap, and the opponent comes into a Pelipper. I'm pretty happy with this because my Trevenant, of course, in the back is quite weak to it, and Fairthorn, all in all, has a pretty neutral matchup into Pelipper. Now, in this cup, Fairthorn typically runs Flash Cannon, so the opponents don't necessarily have to shield this move. I'm going to go for another Power Whip on free for good timing here, look to try and take out the Pelipper, and I think at this point, if they want to shield, I'm more than happy to take the farm down with Tenta. As mentioned, we do have the nuke move with Tenta. I really could fight for alignment, but I did decide to call the bait here. The opponent does go for it, and at this point, we either take switch advantage or shields. The opponent's happy enough to give up switch, probably not happy, but they do get a nice farm down with Dugong, which is kind of unfortunate for me. We're going to come into Tenta, the opponent's going to go straight for a move. Typically they don't bait in this situation, so it's not a bad shield here. I found in this cup, Dugongs don't often bait, and we're going to go for the big Sludge Wave here. It's in situations like this where Sludge Wave is very, very nice because we almost take it out. The opponent comes into their own Tenta. I'm going to go for a Scald, fish for the debuff, and hopefully we can take the win from there. Anyway guys, welcome back to the channel. We do get the debuff, which is nice. Welcome back to the channel, hope you're all having a fantastic day. Want to say a big thank you to everybody who's been subscribing lately, everybody who's been tuning into the streams, and everybody who's been joining our Discord community. Big thank you, the support on this channel has been amazing. The opponent goes for a Blizzard. They built up to 11. It's 11 for Blizzard, and I said, you know what? Not today, buddy. Not today. Today is not going to be the day that I get blizzarded by a Tentacruel. Also, if you want it to be extra spicy, you could run double nukes. I have seen people using Sludge Wave on Blizzard, which is kind of an insane moveset. It just kind of makes sense because water is resisted by basically everything in this cup. So that definitely is an option. I don't necessarily think you would want to run it in the lead. Anyway guys, I'll have to give a shout out to Bavia for this team. I've used it for the last couple of days and I've been positive with this team, so yeah, big shout out to Bavia. Let's hop on into the rest of the battles. If you do enjoy today's video, drop a like, subscribe. You might be able to hear that I'm a little bit hungover. I was drinking a few Baileys last night, and a few beers and Baileys, yeah, so definitely feeling it a little bit today. We had the Lytton Community Day yesterday. Let me know if you got any decent ones there. I did get a very nice shiny, I think a rank 6 shiny Incineroar for Great League, so pretty happy with that. I do recommend playing that Calm Day. It's double dust and I think what, triple catch XP. So if you're like me still trying to grind up the levels and want to get some extra dust, definitely a good Calm Day to play. Incineroar, it seems to be quite decent in Ultra League. Not probably great in Master League, probably not great in the Great League. The moves are quite expensive, but put in a 1-to-1 shield scenario or closing position, Incineroar with the Blast Burn of course, the heavy attack weight, and Darkest Lariat, which hits like an absolute nuke. I think it could be very well worth it. If you haven't played the Calm Day yet, definitely get it and play it. Or if you have, do let me know what you thought about it. So in this matchup here, we do have the Poly. We can tank a move, and we're just going to basically farm it the whole way down. Good games well played there. I did think this team worked quite well. There definitely are some awkward things. Trevenant is a pretty awkward-ish lead. You can sort of stay in with Tenta. I do recommend YOLOing the nuke. I think most of the time they'll expect you to go for Acid Spray, and that is once again the good thing about Sludge Wave. If you're running nukes in Tenta, people don't necessarily expect it. You're seeing here, I did go for the bait. I'm almost certain they no shield here. Oh, they do shield it, which I guess is pretty fine. I think, you know, if you shield, they're more likely to shield. I'm going to call a Seed Bomb, the opponent does not go for it, and at this point we're going to take a nasty farm down with the Trevenant. The opponent does not get off another move, and the great thing about Trevenant in this cup is that there's nothing that resists the moveset completely. Trevenant, Shadow Ball, and Seed Bomb, well, not necessarily Seed Bomb, but Shadow Ball can basically hit everything. Now the opponent brings in a Poly, so very good that we've drawn this out, but this is looking a little bit tough, because Dugong just absolutely dicks down Trevenant, unfortunately. So this is not the easiest thing in the world. The opponent is on Power Punch with Shadow Poly, which just absolutely runs free Pokemon in this cup. I just don't think there's much of a chance here for me. I don't think it's possible for me to overfarm the correct amount. I'm going to go for it here. Do I go for a CMP tie? I think I do, which is good. But yeah, Dugong is just so good against Trevenant. It's kind of difficult. Again, I do think Dugong is the best Pokemon in this cup. Because I was debuffed, I didn't go for the Seed Bomb. It wouldn't have been enough. And yeah, unfortunately, that's good games well played. We're going to hop into the next one. By the way, guys, we are only 26 subscribers away from 4K. If we could try to hit 4K this video, that would be fantastic. If you are still here at this point, please consider subscribing. It's absolutely free and it would be pretty cool if we could hit that today. When you do subscribe, just double check to see if it turns over. It should say 3.9K at the minute. It might just flip over to 4K. If you do happen to get the 4,000th subscriber, do let me know in the comments down below. And I would be interested to know what you guys think about this cup. I've been streaming it pretty much every day. I skipped yesterday I decided to take a day off and stream in Discord instead. But in general, like, it's definitely very RPS meta, isn't it? I don't think it's the absolute worst meta we've ever seen. I think we've definitely had some worse metas. The one thing I do like about this cup are the Pokemon. I do like Ferrothorn, I do like Poliwrath, I like Trevenant, I like Tentacruel. You know, the Pokemon that are in this cup are good Pokemon that I like. It's just the nature of, you know, free typing cups. Always RPS, not really much you can do about it. We absolutely one-shot the Abomasnow, and in comes a Wigglytuff! Get that shit off my screen. Good games, well played. Yeah, this is definitely a rough week, because, you know, I played this last week. By the way, like, it's like the videos have done exceptionally well. Like, you know, it's kind of hard for me as a content creator to go to Ultra League, because I think everybody was showcasing Ultra League teams. And in fairness, like, Ultra League has not really changed that much from last season. So I sort of decided, like, okay, I'm going to stick to Spring Cup and just be like one of the few creators in this cup, and just try to kind of, you know, because I do prefer limited Great League metas in general. In general, those are my favourite metas, but I do sort of regret not playing Ultra League now, because I think my elo certainly has suffered for it, and I do also think my mental ability to continuously play this cup for another 5 days is going to struggle also. We do have Open Great League next week, which honestly I'm not a huge fan of. I think Great League was quite interesting the last rotation, but it's mainly because it was just the start of the season, right? Like, it's always a little bit different. Anyway, guys, we do pretty decently against the Obama. The opponent comes into Lantern. Nice little RPS victory. You're going to see in this video, like, a lot of the wins are straight RPS wins or losses. I did try to include some matches that weren't complete RPS. Like this matchup, for example, pretty neutral match. If we shield a ball correctly, you know, it's a little bit more favourable for us. Now, I do always go for baits in these situations. I don't necessarily like going for this bait here. I do get the attack drop. The opponent comes into Dugong, we bank a Scald, and we dip out. So yeah, we'll have that Scald for later. Yeah, I don't know. I think you just YOLO the nuke most of the time with Trevenant. Like, some people definitely do expect the big move, but I don't know. I think it's just like, most people don't want to shield an Acid Spray. Like, I personally have found myself very annoyed at shielding an Acid Spray, and like, you would almost no shield a nuke as opposed to shield an Acid Spray in the lead. Now, what you do in this matchup here is try to play to CMP as the Pharaoh. We build up to back-to-back moves, great energy management, which allows us to get off a move in Trevenant. Trevenant with the Poison Jab damage is already getting decently low. So yeah, they're very, very low. We take them out. In comes Penguin and in comes Trevenant. So here's how this matchup works, right? They get to the Jolpex in straight 6. We get to these moves in 6-6-5. So in the 2-shield, you do win it, going straight Seed Bomb, because you just outpace it and you win CMP. So what I decided to do there was to basically get off that move. I can survive a move. Now, I did get a debuff, which could be very, very vital here. The opponent's going to farm up here. So basically, we need to try and get through this as best as possible. This will get very close. I do believe on the second Skull, we get a debuff as well. I still think that the move will KO me. So what I decide to do is go for the catch as soon as I get to the move. The opponent does not fall for it. They overfarmed very, very correctly there. And this really comes down to if I live this move or not. I was not expecting to live this move, but I do. And I am actually able to farm it down. Super fortunate matchup there. I failed to make the catch, but we debuffed it twice. So sometimes it's just super lucky. In this next game, we have a Tentacruel lead, and the opponent comes into an Abomasnow. I'm not too sure what that's all about. We go for a catch on the Ferrothorn. The opponent throws off what's most likely going to be an energy ball, unless they decide to bait for absolutely no reason. No debuff on their end, and at this point, guys, we're going to absolutely one-shot this thing with Flash Cannon. I don't think the opponent has much incentive to shield us up here. I go for 2 and fro, because if I went for 3 and fro, they would have got to the move. I don't necessarily want to take any more damage. Yep, the opponent lets that through, and I think they most likely come in and try and get a farm. Now, interestingly, the opponent comes into their own Ferrothorn. The opponent has a Tentacruel of their own, so I guess they don't necessarily want that matchup. Ferrothorn has a very decent matchup against Tentacruel. We're going to just basically slug it out here. This is one of the most boring matches in Go Battle League, unfortunately. The opponent will be able to take me out here. They actually show Thunder, which is quite interesting, and they go for a snipe. I tried to commit to the Flash Cannon, I was never getting to it. I should have just threw the Power Whip, and the opponent actually sniped. So that was a bit of a misplay by the opponent. You know, most people would just throw the move there, so they might have been a little bit off on their counts. They definitely should have absorbed the damage first, because that's what the normal play would be in that situation. Now, once again, guys, we're getting debuffs. The opponent's going for Acid Sprays. I do believe, once again, I get a second debuff on this. So, like, that is kind of the busted thing about Scald. If you get debuffs, you win mirror matches. It's just kind of stupid, right? Right here, the opponent does get a debuff, but it's already too little too late. We're going to get off this final move. If the opponent shields it, we're going to come into Trevenant. Of course, they let it go. And yeah, 2 shield Trevenant versus Ferrothorn. We can basically farm this all the way down, and that's good games. In the next game, we get a Tropius lead. Very decent lead for Tentacruel. Although Tropius is quite a strong Pokemon in this cup, and it can make these matches very close. The opponent will go for a Leaf Blade here. 2 Leaf Blades plus the Air Slashes just about KOs the Tenta. The opponent comes into their own, and I throw a Scald, of course fishing for the debuff, we do get it. A little bit unnecessary, and the opponent is going to go for an Acid Spray here. Yeah, I don't necessarily have to do that. I hope that I make that adaptation later on, that I don't have to throw a move, because that is a bit of a waste of energy. And whenever they bring back in the Tropius to the Ferrothorn, they basically have license to farm up an absolute ton. I decided to shield what I thought might be a Blizzard or something. I'm not too sure about that shield right there. I'm honestly not too sure on what the thinking was behind that. I guess I was trying to 5-head and shield a big move. The opponent catches the move on their Tropius, which is kind of unfortunate. I bank the move again, and we do come back into Tenta. Now, this will very close to KO, so I'm hoping that I can just basically get off this move. And as you can see, because I actually clicked the charge move and swapped out, I've got this bug where it looks all weird and big. That's kind of awkward. I did get the debuff once again, so I guess I come into the Ferrothorn. That was super weird. The animations and stuff in this game are super funky. I decided not to eat that move. I guess at this point I thought that they were weak to this. They come into Tentacruel, so it is sort of checking out that they might be a little bit weak to Ferrothorn. I am kind of thinking though, if they're weak to Ferrothorn, they might be weak to Trevenant, so I'm pretty satisfied to let this go. I guess I predict that it's Lantern at this point. There's been a very common team, which is Tropius lead with Lantern and Poly. I thought this might be either Poly or Lantern, like Tentacruel instead of one of those 2 Pokemon. Basically flying grass, double water. The opponent lets the move go through and they come into a Lantern. So yeah, this is basically game over. We just build up to basically 2 moves and that's curtains for them. We go for a CMP tie, and yeah, Lantern can perform well in these matchups, but up this amount of energy, there's just not that much they can do. Good games well played. We've got basically 2 moves loaded, we're just going to throw it straight away. Not going to mess around, get rid of this Pokemon, and yeah, let's hop on into the next one here. I definitely was a big fan of this team, and once again, big shout out to Bavia for it. I was running at one point Sludge with Tentacruel on the safe swap, but using a team basically like Poison Double Grass, not a team that I'd used before, and yeah, definitely a big fan of it. Drill Rune coming in, the opponent comes into an opposing Ferrothorn. So what I've often found is, if they've got a Dugong lead, they don't have an amazing answer to Ferrothorn in the back. Oftentimes they come into their own behind an energy. They of course got the move on us there, so not the most ideal thing in the world. We do have a lot of energy banked, and by the looks of things, 1 more Flash Cannon's basically going to take us out. I think what we can try to do here is try to get extra energy somewhere. If we can get an energy advantage, we should be in a decent enough position. The opponent overfarms maybe a little bit too much. We CMP the Power Whip here, which of course won't KO, but we'll put them in a very comfortable farm down range. So I'm fairly satisfied with this. I should come out of this matchup with basically a Sludge Wave. Tenta's going to come in. I think 2 Poison Jabs should just about KO. And, oh, actually, we take the farm of Trevenant, which is quite interesting. So the opponent, of course, will bring in their Dugong. I guess I want to get shields off the opponent first, and then maybe look to try and bring in the Tenta. Dugong for this team is definitely very, very rough, and the opponent comes into a Lantern. So yeah, definitely not the easiest thing in the world. Again, we do have the big move, and you can see like 2 of those basically KOs the Lantern. So what I need to do is basically just correctly shield a Thunderbolt. I'm going to look to go for a Scald, because if the opponent lets us go, we should hopefully be able to get some jab damage off on the other thing. The opponent lets it through, we're going to go for the farm down. The opponent does not get off another move, and the opponent's basically forced to insta-throw here. I decided to let this go. How much energy do I have? Yeah, maybe I should shield that move. Maybe I should shield that move, because I don't think I quite get to 2 moves in Trevenant. I'm not showing my IVs here on screen, but yeah. Oh, new mechanic. Unfortunate, a very, very close match. Maybe I try to shield Tentacruel and get off another move. But I think they just outpaced me, unfortunately, so bit of an unfortunate one. Maybe if I had like CMP'd the Sludge Bomb somehow, or Sludge Wave, maybe that was like the win con, but not an easy one. Speaking of not easy, a Mudboy lead is just brutal. The opponent comes into an Abomasnow. I think I do live 1 Weather Ball, even if it is Shadow. So like I think we should win the zeros here just about. Yeah, this is non-Shadow. So I do think I might have just about lived it. We get a shield, which is about best case scenario. And what we're kind of hoping to do is just get an absolute shit ton of farm of the Tenta, farm the Abomasnow the whole way down, maybe come out with 2 Scalds, and just hopefully 2 Scalds is enough to take out the Quagsire. We need something in the back that we can hopefully get a shield off, and we need to land basically 2 moves. Or, you know, we need Ferrothorn just to absolutely cook in the back. Those are our win cons here. They're looking a little bit few and far between. We swap into this, they come into the Roserade. This is just curtains for me. Now, the good thing to know about this matchup is, you actually, I think, maybe not win the zeros, but if you get an energy lead, you can tank the move and go for Flash Cannon. If they're in Poison Jab, they definitely very comfortably win this here. The opponent jabs me down. Unfortunately, they even get off another move. I'm forced to let it go. And you will see like 2 Scalds to basically KO Shadow Quagsire, which definitely is useful information. That might come in clutch a little bit later on, but Just unfortunately, we couldn't get the shield off the opponent, and we do have another pretty bad lead. The opponent comes into a bloody Mawile. Generally speaking, I do safe swap Trevenant. If we safe swap the Fairthorn in this situation, yeah, it's not gonna be looking pretty. Double super effective. I don't think we would be able to reach the flash cannon. The opponent actually froze energy here, which is best case scenario for me, and they're gonna farm up and go for boosted play rough. Now, even though resisted, this would hurt an absolute ton, but I'm sort of forced to let it go, unfortunately. Play rough almost takes me out. I bank almost 2 skulls. I'm gonna go for Sludge Wave on the lantern straight away. I wanted to bank that energy, but unfortunately my switch clock was not quite up. I guess I didn't quite wait down my switch clock, and they come into the Roserade once again. Now, I actually have half a chance here. If I'm able to either land a flash cannon for the shield, or get a bait successfully, we actually can win this. We're going to go for the bait. The opponent almost certainly has to shield this. The opponent makes an amazing call, and I just immediately top left. Good games. Sometimes you just have to YOLO it, bro. Sometimes you just have to YOLO it. The opponent called the first one, fair play to them. And in this next match we have the Tentacruel Mirror. Last time the opponent swapped into an Abominable Snow. I don't think we're going to be so fortunate, but they do go for Acid Spray here, which is very, very good for me. You know, we resist the Poison Jab, so like we're not really that worried about the fast move pressure. And if I can get debuffs, which I have been getting quite a lot of, this definitely is very favourable. We do get the 50% chance. And yeah, I mean, the opponent can go for the move here, but we do go for a very nice catch on the Fairthorn. Generally speaking, I don't mind swapping out here because we have pretty decent answers to this, and we do actually draw out the Roserade. Unfortunately, the opponent does not allow us to get to the Flash Cannon to force a shield, and we'll have to eat this Weather Ball. Because we're debuffed, we cannot live that move. And at this point, I am thinking it's going to be Trevenant in the back, so I'm I don't really know what to do. I go for a Sludge Wave. I want to just get rid of this this thing anyway. If I can get rid of this and maybe like farm the Trevenant down, or like land a Scald on it or something, I might be in an okay position. But I was a little bit sort of worried about this. The opponent comes in. I decide to shield this. This ends up being just an Acid Spray, which is so annoying. That's what I sort of mentioned earlier. Shielding up an Acid Spray, probably the worst feeling in the world. And I'm not sure if the opponent even built up to it. They actually go for a shield here, and at this point I'm so happy with this. That's probably best case scenario. If it is their own Trevenant, they go for an Acid Spray, and they're allowing me to get the farm. What could possibly be in the back? It is a Fairthorn. I'm going to go straight for Shadow Ball. No messing around. Absolutely no reason to go for a bait here. Boom! The opponent lets it through. And as you've seen, like, that doesn't do so much damage that, you know, they absolutely have to shield that. So going for bait in that situation is the lose con. I will start going for Seed Bombs at this point. If they let this through, I can basically Shadow Claw the whole way down. So yeah, we're going to go for a 1 and catch. Not very necessary. I am kind of toying with them at this point. I could have let the move go and basically just farmed them down with Tenta. I decided to farm them down with Trevenant, so unnecessary catch, but you know me, I do love catching for fun, so good games to the opponent there. Once again, horrible lead, and we make a swap into the Trevenant here. Now this time the opponent comes into the Walrein. This is a little bit different than Dugong. This is a very close matchup between Trevenant and Walrein. If we can land one Seed Bomb in this matchup, we can take it. So I decide, okay, the opponent give me too many Shadow Claws. I actually might be able to take this match. The opponent once again does not fall for CMP. Pretty unfortunate. Getting that extra one through would have been huge. And at this point, the opponent overfarms a little bit too much. I think they overfarm by 1, meaning that we actually get to this move. Trevenant, of course, wins CMP time, and this will take out the Walrein. So we're now in a very, very good position. Because we flip swap, the opponent does come into our Roserade though, which is kind of awkward. If you think about it, they can go for a Leaf Storm, which will just absolutely fuck the Tenta up. This is kind of looking tricky here. Unfortunately, I'm just going to be forced to tank it. My only win con is that they're on Grass Knot, but no, unfortunately, they do one-shot us. The opponent played this matchup super well. They banged the move. Like, this is just curtains for me. They banged the move. If I take out this Quagsire, they're going to CMP tie and win. So, good games to the opponent, and hopping into the final battle of the video, guys. If you're still here, make sure you guys have dropped that like on the video. I'm hungover here, trying my best to make it through this, but I do recommend this team if you're looking for a team that's, you know, decent for climbing. I do recommend this one. It's quite decent. Tentacruel leads generally picks up quite decent leads. Not this time though. We are picking up the Lantern. We come into Trevenant, and the opponent comes into Pelipper. So this is quite good for me, because if I land one Seed Bomb, I can win this matchup. The opponent has to build up to the Hurricane, and if I successfully shield one of their Weather Balls, or of course shield a Hurricane, I'm in a very good position. The opponent goes for Weather Ball. I'm actually going to go for Shadow Ball this time. I can live a Weather Ball. The opponent, of course, went for Weather Ball bait, and they actually let it through. So we take swap on a Pelipper. That's absolutely huge. But they do get a nasty farm down with the Trevenant. We should be in a fine enough position. They can bait us, which would be awkward. They can go straight Shadow Ball, which would be the correct play. I think I'm happy enough just to shield up pretty much everything they throw here. I'm going to try to go for a Skull debuff. The opponent does go for Shadow Ball. And what I'm expecting is the opponent to go for a catch. They do go for a catch. And that gives me a bigger win con. It means I can just overfarm with the Fairthorn at this stage. I might be wrong, but I think the opponent could have just went for the move. So I think the opponent slightly misplayed this one. They go for a Surf as well. I'm going to farm up to 100 energy. Go for this. I don't necessarily need to go for an undercharge because Lantern pretty comfortably lives that move. We get an extra bullet seed through, and basically the opponent will be forced to further energy when they come back in. I can get off a flash cannon. They pretty much have to make a call here. I don't think they'll be able to farm us the whole way down before we get off a flash cannon and a power whip. A power whip would come very close to KOing at that point, and actually maybe it was a loose con for me going for flash cannon. Maybe that was a little bit too much. Oh, by the looks of things, we do have one more matchup here. I do believe this is a matchup against Quagsire lead, if I remember correctly. I think we do actually somehow manage to beat one, so we'll see how this one plays out. Oh, it's another Lantern lead, so maybe this will play out quite similarly. But yeah, the good thing about this team is, you know, you are able to play out all these leads. Guys, by the way, my timing on the swap is absolutely atrocious. Definitely something I'm trying to work on. The opponent will go for a move. There's just not a whole lot I can do. Getting a shield advantage is about best case scenario in that situation. We come into the Tentacruel. I think what I might try to do is shield once, let the first move go just in case it's an icy wind. We'll shield once, go for a massive overfarm, and look to come out with sludge waves for the Lantern. Yeah, we actually, I think, go for a CMP tie here. The sludge wave will take out the dugong, and we'll have this energy for later. I'm going to swap straight out, and the opponent once again comes into our Rosa raid. Again, we've seen the situation before. The opponent throws an alignment. They're what we like to call an alignment Andy, an insta-throwing Andy. Once again, the win con is the same as before. We need to successfully bait or land a flash cannon for a shield. We're going to go for the bait, the opponent respects it, and at this point, they insta-throw once again, just absolutely guaranteeing I get to this move in time. I even go for a cheeky overfarm here, which I knew the switch clock was not up, so I was pretty comfortable in doing so. We get the overfarm. That's going to allow us to basically get the move off on the Lantern, no problem. And as long as we land this one move, we can basically sludge wave it, and that's going to be good games. So yeah, like I said guys, hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like, subscribe. Thank you everybody for the support, and like I said, if you're looking for a decent team to run, I do recommend using this one. Everybody, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all next time.